I'm like, this is too good not to share. If this is making my life easier, it can make so many other moms' lives easier.
Welcome to Mom Meets World, a podcast talking all things motherhood, friendships, and life. We're your hosts, Alaina Brookmyer
and Peyton Saraiva. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive right in.
Hey y'all.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Welcome back. We got a good one for you guys today. We do have a guest on. She's practically a local celebrity here in Phoenix. She is the owner and chief curator of East Valley Moms. So if you are in the area, you know exactly what East Valley Moms is because it is your go-to for like anything local that's happening for families to take advantage of if you're just a mom or a woman to take advantage of. So she's just like such an amazing person, so busy, a mama herself. So she shares all the tips and tricks of how to just stay on top of everything and still live life, find that balance. So, oh my gosh, she was just such a good guest on our show. I had so much fun talking to her. What about you?
Oh, it was great. And I just think it's such an asset to have. She runs a blog. So essentially you just go onto her website, East Valley Moms, and that's where you can go through and you can find all the tips and tricks. So like covered parks or what to do in the winter. And that's just like peeling back one of the small layers of what she is and what the brand is all about. But I feel like this is such an asset for everyone to just jump on and have a look. And it was such a good time having a chat with her. So excited for you guys to hear it. But life, what's been going on? How are you doing? What's happening with you?
Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy happening these days. The biggest thing for me that's been like fun just in my own little world of Alaina is just like you guys know I'm a workout gal and I like to just stay fit and strength training is definitely my thing. So that's been keeping me like kind of excited each day, like whether Chloe comes with me to the gym or I drop her off at school and I don't really have anything else to keep me busy, but I'll go to the gym still even without her. It still kind of makes me feel bad because I'm like, they have childcare here, but I'm still here without her. But it's okay. Just like a part of my routine. I freaking love it. So these days I've been switching up my programming and I don't know if anyone listening or you yourself, obviously like who works out, you know, to kind of switch up if you're being super consistent with a strict program of like a workout style to switch it up every now and then, right? So I just recently switched mine up and I'm doing like unilateral movement, which is just like focusing on one leg at a time or one arm at a time and just making sure that both sides are equally strong and balanced. So I think that's kind of like been almost like just new and exciting for me. So that gives me something to look forward to each day and just started that recently. And you know, there's like kind of newbie gains. So like if you start a new program or maybe you aren't really used to working out and then you do start working out, you get those like newbie gains that are pretty instant and immediate. So that tends to happen for me. Like if I start a new program and Ben's like, ooh, wait, you're looking good today. And I'm like, I know, I started a new program. Thanks. So anyways, that's been fun for me. What about you?
Oh, you know, not too much. Just been working a lot. I love hearing Cabo snoring in the background. If you are watching this show, which we hope you guys do, we are on Spotify and on YouTube. You can watch us, and Elena's over there giggling because little Cabo is snoring so loud, and
I'm sticking my toe in his mouth. I'm just like, shush.
A little puppy dreaming. Yeah. So we keep things real around here, and something that we've kind of been going through, I would say, the past 6 to 8 months is Cooper. And again, this is life. So body is it is what it is, but Cooper had a little lump on his penis and, it was something that we noticed in April of last year. We went into the doctors, had it looked at. They're like, okay, it's no big deal. It's just like a little cyst. It'll go away with time. Again, 6 months later, we went in for another appointment. And again, same thing. It's nothing. It's a little cyst. It'll go away. And then I recently, as we all have friends that have kids, different ages, you kind of use their experience and their knowledge to kind of help you with certain things. I had a girlfriend of mine watch Cooper overnight. And when she was doing a diaper change and bath time with her boys, so all three of boys were in the tub, her and her husband both noticed that little bump. And it was something where she's like, hey, I know you vocalized this, but I just wanted to check in. Like, have you had it looked at again? And I was like, that's a really good flag. I did just kept believing the doctors here in Naruma. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll go away, whatever. And I decided to make an appointment to go to a specialist. And fast forward to this week, we went to Canberra. So it's the capital of Australia. It's about a 3-hour drive away. And I solo parented this drive out with Cooper. And disclaimer, he did wonderful. It's a 3-hour drive to get to Canberra. And we went to this appointment. It was wonderful having a specialist have a look at him and just, she had a really good like mom, grandma feel to her. She just eased my nerves. Her doctor's office was so great. Just like hit every single thing that really works well with the kid. Her and I had a chat, and Cooper played with this like awesome play equipment that was in her office as well, like while I was chatting with her, which was just a really little touch that made the experience more comforting for Cooper. And long story short, she had a look at him from tip to top. We addressed some of the eczema concerns I've been having. She had a look at all of his parts and like made sure all of his little organs were functioning well. Just being a female and again, being transparent. I had sisters growing up. I had little boy cousins, but I never really like thought about the anatomy of, boys. And I didn't know really what to think about when Cooper was born and just like his parts and do his testes drop? When does that happen? When are they supposed to start pulling at themselves and, having erections? Yeah. So I didn't either. And so this whole journey of being a boy mom is such a fun and interesting one where I'm learning like boys are starting to get erections at this age. Boys are allowed to start touching themselves. And like, it's a natural reaction for him to wake up and have like that little morning erection and these little small things that it's new and familiar to me. And I did get a couple books, so now I'm kind of reading into like what to expect, when to let them kind of just be by themselves and have these things and what's natural and all these sort of things. So it was good for her to get in, have a look around, and ease my mom mind that cyst actually had gone away naturally within the 2 weeks. So I went in for an appointment 2 weeks ago to get the referral, and it was as big as ever, and he had a really big fever, and I was really concerned. And of course, in that time frame, as the doctors had said, the cyst would go away on its own. So it was pretty much all gone. Went to the doctor, and she was like, look, it's all good. I did have pictures of it, which I had to laugh. And I had pictures of his little bump, and they were in my hidden folder on my phone. So pro tip, if you've got any fun and any like spicy photos, you can put them in your hidden folder. And so I just didn't want his little penis pictures floating around in my normal camera roll. So I had them in my hidden folder, but I had to laugh because I had to quickly go scroll. Okay, here are the pictures. Don't swipe too many because you might see a picture of me in my bra, kind of like like laughing and joking with her. And she said, sweetheart, I've been a doctor for 40 years. You think that your nudes would surprise me? And I had to have a little laugh because coming off that episode with Kyle, which if you guys, it's 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, it was just that intimacy one. And I definitely snapped some fun pics and sent them to Chase with my little Google Calendar invite for a little intimacy session. And I had to laugh because it just was triggering for me. And the way she was just like, sweetheart, if you think your nudes are going to surprise me, nothing. Okay, we're good. So
I feel like they better surprise you. I'm actually like, really hot stuff.
I'm feeling good about it, and you should be pleased that I'm still having sex with my husband after this many years. Anyways, so we're all in the clear there. Everything is good to go. I think I just now know that I feel good. I have a set doctor in Canberra if I ever need something a little bit more serious and like just a cold and flu checkup. But also it's good to know that Cooper is healthy. So that was a big thing for us.
So proud of yourself, honestly. Like, huge kudos to you, Mama. You are the absolute like freaking rock star and best mom for Cooper, because like to go above and beyond to just do that whole road trip. It's a serious road trip to go all the way out there for you. And like, obviously see the specialist, and just for your own peace of mind, like the previous recording, we chatted about like my breast examination and just getting that checked out. I think it's so important. And it kind of like, that all kind of piggybacks off of that and like intertwines with like the whole message. Anyone else who's listening, maybe your own kiddo is having a little something that you're keeping your eye on. This is always the message, to be like, you're doing your best right now, whether you're acting on it, you're still acting on it by keeping your eye on it. But like, if there does need to be more action, like you'll do it. And like, yeah, so I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I'm trying to be a good advocate for him. And
Yes.
I'd love to chat about it at some point, but there was something that happened in the hospital when Cooper was born, and I just wasn't 100% certain that what was going on was what I wanted. And we advocated, we asked for a second opinion, and we ended up being right about the red flag that was happening, if that makes sense. And so
Hmm.
if you've got a gut instinct, act on it. Money can always be replaced. Your time is always like your time is valuable, but like going to do that 3 hour appointment is important. Yes, we were only in her office 20 minutes and ended up being a 6.5, 7 hour day that we were driving in the car. Not to mention he threw up on the way and my
Oh.
phone died. So all those like fun little things that kind of like those little hurdles, if that makes sense, like it's worth it because I'd rather be 10 times wrong about something that's scary than miss something small that ended up being worse, if that makes sense. So we're
100%.
we're in the clear. It's okay. Everything is good. He's getting out of that. I don't know. I don't want to say out of that tantrum phase, but we went through a couple weeks where he was just going berserk with his tantrum. So it's so nice to know that like we've kind of worked through how to regulate himself and how we sit there and we do these regulations together. I really dove into a YouTube video on like how to like ground Cooper when he's having those moments, and him and I sit together and like figure out a way to take a 45-minute tantrum and kind of like find a way to come to earth again, if that makes sense. And so that's been a really big
Hmm.
thing for us as well. So feeling good
Good.
about that and like helping him through those big feelings, knowing that I'm right there with him. So
Lots of positives there. I love it. And then I want to circle back because I know we've touched on eczema before. So what did the doctor have to share about that?
yes. So basically, she said salt water is really good for eczema. So if he's ever having a big flare up, go down to the beach, put him in the water. And limiting like certain types of sunscreen was important. So trying to find a mineral based sunscreen versus other sunscreens, because sometimes that oils that you're putting into the skin can irritate that as well. But a really big takeaway for us was actually like adding a half a cup of salt into the bath as well as some olive oil into the bath can really help keep the skin moisturized, but also really help like tame the skin, which was huge because I've never heard of the olive oil thing in the bath.
Me
I've
neither.
heard salt water. I've heard a lot of like keeping the water temperature actually lukewarm. Like you think that you want the
Okay.
baby's bath to be warmer, and Cooper loves hot water like I do, so we always take a warm cozy shower and all those little things. But she's like, really keep the water temperature low. Doing the salt and olive oil, that'll make a huge difference.
Would Epsom salt count for that?
I would say so. I mean,
Okay,
I
cool,
just
cool,
did
cool.
like the basic cooking salt that you have the big bag of that you boo in the
Yeah.
salt water. I kind of felt like I was cooking Cooper like a lobster the other day, and I was just like, this is sprinkling it all in,
Put them in a big pot. Delicious. Yum, yum, yum.
stirring them in. But yeah, so that was another big one.
Okay, good to know because like Chloe's having a little baby rash going on her legs, and I don't think it's eczema, but you never know. So I'm just trying to like, that just came into my head.
She also did say down the line if we ever wanted to start a probiotic or a prebiotic with him, that could help, just kind of
Oh,
keeping his gut healthy and like his overall like digestive healthy. But she said we're not at that point, and I did show her photos from again my hidden folders from when his eczema has been really bad, because as I'm sure we all do, we have those pictures from his whole life of like really good things, or if he's ever got a rash or a fever or all these things. I keep notes of all that sort of stuff just so that way I've got it in my archives in case this happens. So I did go through and show her his like worst flare ups of eczema. And she's like, look, I think you're doing the right thing. I don't think you need to go on any prebiotics or change his diet up right now. It seems like you guys, what you're doing is working. If you ever are really, really concerned, we can come back and do a full consult. But she said she'd basically say the same thing as she is now.
good. What a good contact to have for you
Oh,
guys.
big resource. So really pleased. It was Canberra Pediatric Specialist is the doctor's office, and her name is Dr. Hamid. And my friend Ellie is the one that told me she had her son there, and she goes there as kind of her overall resource. If you just need that one step up here in the Narooma and like South Coast area, you kind of go to like a general physician's office, and any doctor can see anyone at any ages. They do pull your file up, but you just might not have that same relationship. Whereas, like, I know for you, you'd be like, oh, I'd call Chloe's pediatrician. They'll immediately prescribe me this because they know that she needs a different dose of Miralax, or they have that. That's something that's been really different and harder for me to understand, or to like, I guess, get my head around down here, because I like that personalization with having a doctor. So it's worth it for me to drive the 3 hours. And I know, yeah, hopefully when we get pregnant, I know that that's where we'll go if we want, again, that like more specialized care with any prenatal or any like, that sort of stuff. So those drive to cannabis could be in our near future. I mean, again, I could stay local, just see a regular doctor, go to a normal place here for imaging, but it wouldn't be that same personalized person. So I guess you just have to gamble which one's more important to you, the comfort and convenience of staying local but not having the personal relationship, or driving a bit further, the inconvenience of travel but having someone that knows you, knows your fears and anxieties of like, okay, I have endometriosis. The first time I was pregnant, I bled a lot. I thought I was always miscarrying. Like, I think I like someone to be a little more personalized and a little bit that knows me and can kind of ease those fears or like things, but also remembering this time around I'll have a little toddler in the car and those sort of things. So I guess we'll just see what happens.
It's all circumstantial, but now you know your options. So
that's important.
I'm excited. Yeah, good. Well, let's go ahead and get into the heart of the episode with Amy because she has so much amazing things to share. So let's dive in.
Let's do it. Are so welcome a guest on our show today, Amy McConnell, to our podcast. She is pretty much a local celebrity in the Phoenix area since she is the owner and chief curator of East Valley Moms, an organization that is always in the know for local activities and opportunities for families. Amy is also a mom herself. We are so happy to have you guys on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to be here today.
Yay. Well, give us a little just like breakdown of who you are as a person before we jump into all things like East Valley Moms.
Oh gosh. Well, my lines are so blurred because I chose to mix motherhood and business together. So I am one and the same, but I am Amy. I am mom to Maverick. I'm raising a third generation only child. I was an only child myself and my father was an only child. So that's kind of a cool story that we have. I live here in Mesa, Arizona, where I was born and bred and never thought I would stay here. And yet here I am with a very big heart for Mesa now. And so it's really exciting to see how, whatever you threaten as a teenager, you're not going to do. Here we are back again to it.
Living proof.
Living proof, right? But I'm so grateful for the journey that I've been on and so excited to just share my journey with so many other local moms.
Oh, I love to hear that. I am born and raised in Phoenix as well. I went to school over in Ahwatukee area. So local Arizona,
Okay.
Born and bred over there. And then Alaina, how long ago did you move here again?
Just over 4 years, but I'm originally a California girl. So yes, I'm one of
Okay.
the transplants out here.
You're a transplant. Okay,
Yes.
well, we'll welcome you.
Thank you. I feel the love. And I also have, currently Peyton and I only have one kiddo ourselves as well. But, my husband and I have agreed as of right now, we're going to have her be an only child as well. So I feel you on that. It's like
Yes.
hard, but I'm like, I don't want to have shopper's remorse, of being like,
Yes.
oh, shoot, let's commit to this. And then, but so far so good. And we just feel it like it's right in our hearts. But yeah we're just living life in the heat now.
Yeah, in the heat. It's getting hot. But yeah, I feel like it's so funny. Speaking of only children, I think it's such an interesting niche in motherhood because I feel like the next question is usually like, oh, well, when are you going to have more? And then when you tell people that you feel complete, it's an interesting response usually. It's usually like, oh, that's kind of weird. I actually found a podcast about people raising only children. And so that I'll have to find it and share it with you guys. But
Yes,
I thought
please.
it was a really interesting perspective as well because we are few and far between.
Yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, I'm glad there's like a little club about it. But yeah, Peyton, that we already know, is hoping for more. So there might be more in your future.
I'm one of 3 girls and my mom's one of 4 girls, and siblings is like something that I can't imagine my life without. And so I really would like that opportunity for Cooper. And that's just what my partner and I have chatted about. And just like, as long as that's what my body has, can do, we're really hoping for one more. But look, we are very happy with Cooper. So we will see what happens in the next couple months.
Love it. Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
Yay.
And then with you being from Arizona, all the ins and outs. Like you've just spent many, many years out here, however old you are. I'm not going to blast you, but but
Quite a
like
few.
essentially, like that gives you such a solid base for creating what you've created, or like grown, I should say. So can you fill us in a little bit of like how you came about East Valley Moms and like how you've kind of built it up to what it is today?
Yeah, absolutely. So East Valley Moms is a local, hyper-local media company that shares a more connected and joyful parenting experience for moms, specifically here in the East Valley. So we define the East Valley in 5 cities. So we're Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, Queen Creek, and Tempe. And like I said, I'm born and bred in Mesa. And I love it here. And my career trajectory took me in a really interesting way. So my background is in marketing and communications. And all throughout my 20s, I did all the fun Mad Men ad agency life that was amazing until you realize you're old and, you don't want to work 80 hours a week. And so then I did an interesting turn and I went to Mesa's Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I got to see my hometown through like traveler's eyes. And while I was working there, it really inspired me to fall in love with my hometown again, because here I was sharing the beauty of the desert and all of our hidden gems with travel writers throughout the countries, really. We'd have international media come in, and as a marketer, it was my job to host them and show them the best of the best here. And it was really a turning point for me to fall in love again with my hometown. And from there, I drank the Kool-Aid even more, and I went to work for the local government. So I worked for the city of Mesa for almost 6 years. And there I was a public information officer. I was the interim chief digital officer for the city. And so there again, my love for Mesa specifically just ballooned. And the amount of resources that are here for families that so many families don't know about, it was my job to kind of peel back those onion layers. And it was really incredible. And fast forward, I was pregnant working at the city. And I'd always stalked East Valley Moms because I was like, oh, well, when that day comes, I want to know, like, what is there to do here? And my high school best friend had been a writer for them for a number of years. She had kids early in life, and we had kind of gone different ways for locals. She went to U of A, I went to ASU. So our paths just kind of naturally separated in our 20s. But I always kind of kept a pulse on what she was doing as a mom through East Valley Moms. And so when I was pregnant, they put out a call for writers so you could apply to be on the writing team. And I messaged her cold, and we hadn't talked in probably 10 years. I said, hey, do you like writing for this? I'm pregnant now, and I thought maybe that'd be a fun creative outlet. And she put in a good word with me with the owners, and I was accepted on the team as a writer. And then 4 months later, I had my newborn. COVID shut down the world, and the owners announced to the writing team that they were looking to sell the business. And it was just, I never planned to be a business owner. I never planned to buy a business 4 months postpartum, but here I was with in the middle of the world shutting down.
The stars aligned.
Right? And it was just like the stars aligned. You're so right. And I just said yes. I've had really great business success in that philosophy of just say yes. And so I bought it, and I acquired the business with one employee that was Kara, my best friend from high school. And so it all just kind of
fell into place,
aligned back together. Yes. And that has been almost 5 years. And so in the last 5 years, we've grown the business from a hobby blog. It was definitely just a hobby for these women. And we've really transformed it to this community powerhouse that it is today.
I have goosebumps.
Such an inspirational story. I know.
Oh, thank you. I still get goosebumps specifically about like how it brought Kara and I back together. I mean, the level of detail in that story is just so special. And she's my person. And it's like no time passed over those 10 years that we were apart. And I cannot imagine what my motherhood journey would have been like without her in it. And so it's just, that's the best part of this whole story really, is how it brought two people back together.
Gosh, I don't know. That's just, my alarm bells are tinging in my head, because that's how I feel about my motherhood journey with Alaina. And like, our podcast is no nowhere near like your business yet. We're getting there, but in the same note, that's how I feel about like my motherhood journey, meeting Alaina, and also like the fact that we can sit here as friends, but also chatting with people like you and bridging the gaps of communication across the world, but also different community groups. And hopefully our listeners can all find a way to like have that person in that motherhood journey. It just makes me feel happy.
Yes. Yes, and really that's why we started bringing live events even. So it was a digital company that I bought. So our bread and butter is we're a blog. We review local places, local things to do, local places to explore. But then we are local. And so there was that unique opportunity that, wait, I could be bringing people together. And the live events part of East Valley Moms has just snowballed. And now I've lost track of how many events we did last year or even really this year so far. And we do big events, like 200 to 400 people, which is chaos because it's mostly 0 to 5-year-olds. It's a lot of like sensory bin rice everywhere. But then also we keep them small. So like last Friday, we had an intimate working moms evening on this beautiful women only roof deck co-working space. And that was for 20 women. And so I love having that like different balance of however you want to meet people and where you are in your village development. If you're looking for your people or if you've met a couple people and you're trying to pour into them more, those live events, I felt like were a really good place to do that for people who haven't found their people yet.
Totally. And I think that like, that's amazing that you just went for that light bulb went off in your head of like, let's make this happen in person. We're here. Let's get everyone together. And like, you obviously have the genre of like mothers and families and just like being a parent. But then like, there's obviously so many other branches that go out into that. So I love that you're hitting all the spots essentially like involving the kids or maybe just like working moms get together. And so, and then you connect these people and they can branch off and do their own thing too and connect in different ways. And like, that's what we're all about. Like Peyton, my podcast here is just like she said, we're connecting everyone and like at all times. And no matter what stage you're at, it's a beautiful thing. So I love that you're able to do that like in this area and you're hitting so many different like cities, but it's making such a huge impact because like I've been following you guys for a while now, just like being a mom. So you just like, you're such a good resource. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And you know, I felt like I didn't know a lot, right? First time mom. But I'm sharing it very publicly and winging it as I go.
We all are.
I get that.
Right? We all are. And I found such cool resources. And like, I'm like, this is too good not to share. If this is making my life easier, it can make so many other moms' lives easier. And it's been so special.
Absolutely love that. And community seems to have played a huge role in what you guys do. Like, obviously, the passion for you comes from being born and raised in Mesa and all of your experience, but like, how have you continued to find passion after like month to month doing similar things?
You know, I wish I could say I do similar things, but I am one of those people that like, we are constantly doing new things and it's exciting. I think our coverage area being 5 suburban cities is big enough that there's literally always something new happening. We do have a couple favorites, but they're seasonal. And I think that motherhood really brought me back into the outdoors and really ignited in me that love of outdoor exploration as well. So that now we have so many seasonally favorite things where it's like, oh my gosh, I love going to Carl's Damaged Animals. It's like this very random. It's a resident's home in Gilbert that he has rescue animals like rescue steer, rescue pigs, rescue donkeys, rescue turtles, rescue ducks, and he puts out produce and just invites the public to come feed the animals.
And it's to go to this.
It's so fun. It's right by the Riparian Preserve. We have a whole blog post on it. And it's so special. But obviously, we're not going there in July because it's outside. And so finding those seasonal traditions, we spend a ton of time on the Salt River every summer. And we have since Maverick was itty bitty. And so looking forward to, oh my gosh, this season, what are we going to do? Has been really special to measure time with him, especially because we have been in the same geographic area his whole life, that those annual seasonal comparisons have made it really exciting.
That's awesome. Yes, I definitely want to take advantage, just like we just touched on earlier, how it's already starting to get warmer out here, not even being March yet, but like what we can take advantage of like seasonally, because each spot has some different seasons going on. But obviously in Arizona, the summer is the most important to like navigate around. So I think that's where it is crucial to like know what are even my options to do inside or maybe outside where like the pool is actually cooled, you know?
Yeah. And one of my favorite articles that we've ever done is like how to spend time outside in the summer. Especially with littles, it's not as hard as people make it seem. And so humanizing that and being like, it's okay, your kid is up at 5 a.m. anyways. We know that. So just get outside by 6 a.m. The first 4 years of my son's life, we did stroller breakfasts. So literally his core memory, I can't wait for the day that he's like, 17 and like can say this to me, like look at a stroller and be like, is that breakfast? Because literally, like even Christmas morning, like every day of his life, we would walk 3 miles every day. I would just put his breakfast on his stroller tray, literally pancakes, eggs, like whatever was for breakfast that day, avocado toast. Like my stroller was trashed by the time he was 4. But like we did it in the freezing cold. We did it in the blazing summer. We've done it down dirt roads while camping. And so getting like just demystifying some of those, oh my gosh, I'm going to be cooped up with my kid inside all summer. Like it doesn't have to be that way. And I love inspiring families to learn what works for them in those unbearable seasons. Or like even parks, for example. So we were chatting before we started recording that, park season, it might be coming to an end for some parks, but going back to that seasonal now, it's time for us to go to all of our favorite shaded parks. And you bet we have a list of those.
And splash pads.
Yes, and splash pads. And so it's so fun to like just mark those sands of times and be like, well, it doesn't have to be boring. Like we haven't been to this park since last fall, so let's go check it out. And so that's really exciting.
Okay, well, brain blast. I didn't even think about doing like this. I love that stroller breakfast idea. Haven't heard of it, and I literally love having those like moments where you're gonna be like, Mom, did we always do that? And what one good way to get exercise there? There's always the studies on like the sun on your skin in the morning is so critical to like a better day for the whole family. And we always joke that Cooper is an outside kid, or like whenever Cooper's having like a tantrum or a big meltdown, taking him outside changes the trajectory of the day. But I wonder how that would have changed our newborn experience or just early. I mean, Alaina and I's kids are 2.5, almost 3. Chloe's almost 3 next month. But I feel like we're kind of teetering on the edge of like, that could have been such a change in how our day started. So I love that tip, putting that definitely in my back pocket for the next one.
Yes, literally the first one we did was as soon as he could start holding his own bottle. Like
that is
like I was like, we're
let's
going.
do it.
It was great. And it was like and like literally he would wake up, I'd change his diaper from overnight and we'd go. Like in your jammies, like literally within 5 or 10 minutes of him waking up, we were out the door. And
I think that's what deters me a lot. Yeah, because like the preparation of getting out the door, but like if there's no prep involved and like literally you just have the food, put it on the tray, they're in their jammies, let's rock and roll. I think that is like, that's what would really appeal to me. And so I want to start doing the tradition like that. And like my girl Chloe is so into routine. So I think it might take like a second, but I think that's something that she would truly enjoy too. Kind of like Cooper. She loves being outside. I think any kid just like kind of wakes up a little bit once they're outdoors. So I love that.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. And don't be scared of the mess. The only food that I would say from experience don't do is a hard boiled egg.
Ooh,
that yolk, the yolk gets everywhere.
Yeah, probably not.
But everything
you
else,
can hose it down.
No, thank you.
Like, right? Yeah, my stroller is
That's exactly what's the way you want it. You don't want it to be pristine by the end. We have a joke because when we moved to Narooma, we didn't have a car, and so we walked everywhere. And we joked that our stroller had like 20,000 miles on it by the time we got our car, because we didn't have a vehicle, and so Cooper and I would have to walk to the grocery store. We'd walk here, we'd walk to the park. If I wanted to get out of the house, we'd have to walk, and I'd just shove him in the stroller. Which again, it wasn't as routine as yours by any stretch, but that was our running joke that we had 20,000 miles on the stroller by the time we actually purchased our car here. So I love it.
I would get so many calls from you.
I'd be like, I'm on my walk, and I'd be like, hold on, I'm going up a hill.
Literally, yes. Oh my gosh, back in the day, that seems like
I know.
so long
We
ago.
had ended up getting 4-wheel drive tires on our stroller to get through the sand at the beach and up and down.
Yeah.
So
I love
good.
that so much. I love
So how do you navigate being, obviously you're running such a successful business, and now you said you have a 5-year-old, almost 5 or around that 5 years old mark.
He's gonna be 5 next month, and I'm not okay.
God.
Big milestone.
One. How do you navigate it all?
Yeah. Every day is
Yeah,
different.
I love it.
I think, honestly, just giving myself grace. And the best advice I ever got from a mentor mom of mine was, you can have it all, just not at the same time.
Cheers to that.
That's
And
fair.
that was like, right? And I was like, okay, that made so much sense to me of like, oh my gosh, I can. So like looking at weeks or even days sometimes is like, what's my priority today? And really honing in on the rhythm and routine that works for us in that season. I've learned that every 6 months, whatever's working is not going to work anymore. And that can be really frustrating until I kind of figured that out. I was like, okay, it's fine. It's time for the next evolution. When my son was younger, like 2021, when things started reopening, there was an incredible business here in Chandler called Modern Aloe, and it was a coffee shop.
Yes.
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 It was the best place
I didn't know they were
ever.
closing, and then it was so sad. But yes,
It
go
was
on.
so sad. It was so sad. So they have on-site childcare. So you could go get coffee. They had private meeting rooms. So if you had a therapy appointment, you could drop your kiddo off in the on-site childcare and do your therapy appointment, or you could have conference calls, or you could just power through work. You get your nails done with childcare. It was the best thing ever, and I still mourn it. But that was a big resource for me. Also, my parents have been a huge resource for making my dreams happen as well. I've never had outside childcare. So I've grown this whole business with my Velcro baby.
Oh my gosh.
And we've kind of learned together, and it's cool now that he can talk and like associate things. He knows he knows the logo. He knows that mommy and him work for Eastbound.
Mommy and him.
And yeah, like
Your
and I
coworker.
kind of-
Put him on the payroll.
my coworker. Dude, he is. And
He
it's
gets paid with
cool
mac
that
and
he
cheese.
Start the
gets,
401k early.
He's like built in, seriously, right? The Roth IRA is already there. And it's really been cool to do it alongside him. Obviously, it's been a slower grow than it would have been if I had chosen different business growth options. But I had a sales coach when he was about 2. I was trying to learn how to grow sales, and because the sales part of business is not my love, it's not my fun
Yeah.
joy part. And so I had this sales coach. She was a mom herself, a local mom, and my mom had shattered her heel. And so she was kind of not the one day a week that, so Tuesdays are my work day. That's when Mav is with grandma and grandpa for the day, and I power through 40 hours of work in 8 hours. And so for the season when my mom had shattered her heel, she obviously wasn't as helpful. And the sales coach said, well, I guess it's time to outsource your child. And I was like, if you think that's how I'm growing my business, you are sorely mistaken. Like, the whole reason I own this is so that I can be with my child. And it was such an awkward conversation, but it empowered me so much to realize, wait a minute, I can outsource anything. So I got a sales coordinator who now handles all my sales for me, because that was like that dreaded part of my business that I didn't like, and that was like, ugh. So I did that. I outsourced like managing myself. So now I have a chaos coordinator who manages
I
me.
love that.
My chaos.
Yes.
And it was like such an empowering like pivot for me of, wait a minute, I can outsource whatever I need. And that's not my child. That's not my decision, my journey, my like parenting. But I can outsource other things to make me a more present mom. So like right now, like Mondays, I don't even look at my emails because that's a home day with my son. And like I'm very present. We don't do play dates. Like it's just one-on-one. Like that's our time. And then Tuesdays, best of luck, kid, because I'm working. And just kind of figuring out what works in that season of him developmentally and how my business is that month. About 50% of the time I do bring him to our live events. Obviously sometimes it's tricky now that he's getting older because he wants mommy to do the play date with him and not kind of staff the play date. So it's tricky, but I hope he looks back on this and values that he got to be with me as much as possible and that we built this really together. That's my hope, at least. We'll see. We'll see how he looks back on it.
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And like you were saying earlier, like what's working now but in 6 months, it might be different. So who knows, like he might be able to come with you to more live events, like as he grows and he's like, okay, like mama's technically next to me, but it doesn't mean that she can be super available to me. So I think he'll understand that. But I love that you're so attentive and like there's so much, I don't know, just like heart into building each day to look a little bit different so that it all kind of balances out at the end of the week. I think that is like genius.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a lot of trial and error, truly. And then, as we dropped naps and then my 3-hour nap window of productivity was gone. It's constantly evolving, but he starts kindergarten in the fall. And so then we'll be at another crossroads and it's just
oh my gosh.
never stagnant in motherhood.
That's part of one of my favorite parts about it, though, is I feel like every couple months we have a new kid, but also we get to figure out who we are as moms in those moments and figure out how we handle those things or those changes. And kids are super resilient. And that's something that I found in our life. We've kind of gone through some changes with working more and Cooper's in a little bit of more childcare and all these different like hurdles, but how resilient they are and how much their love for you doesn't change. And so every single day looks different for all these different moms and working moms and stay-at-home moms, and everything looks a bit different, but your kids just love you so much and they're resilient and they're just excited to see you and your partner every day or however your family dynamic works. And it's so wonderful that you're able to, have East Valley Moms create these blogs so people can find experiences to go do things with their kids on those, days off or those opportunities to spend with them.
Yes. And to that point, when I was figuring out, how do you fill the days, the weeks, the years with your child, your young child, and on the social media space, it's very easy to get wrapped up in, going to the latest cool thing over here and, you have to do this exclusive event. And so I started experiencing more of that and it just felt unauthentic to me. I love a good bargain. I'm pretty frugal. And it just, again, it was at that crossroads of, well, this doesn't feel authentic or attainable to a lot of our local families, right? Like you're not dropping $100 to go to the zoo on Monday and then going to the aquarium on Tuesday and then going out to Oregon Stop Pizza on Wednesday because like that, no family can do that. And especially like stay-at-home moms, especially who are filling the days. And so I started to just kind of like meditate more on, well, if this isn't feeling aligned, what is for me and for East Valley moms? And that's where our free events calendar was really born also, which I'm so proud of. And it's the most visited page on our website, but also more and more of our blog posts are that frugally minded content as well, for you don't have to spend $1 million to go have amazing adventures with your kid. You don't have to spend $1 million to keep your kid busy. And really highlighting, again, that goes back to all my city time too, of like working for local government. there's so many amazing resources that we have all already paid for in our taxes.
Yeah.
So you may as well take advantage of them because
Totally.
you've already paid for them. And I think also just being in this space for 5 years now almost, there's definitely some marketing towards young moms that feels a little bit like icky with the scare tactics of, oh, if you're not in dance class and music class and this class, like your child is falling behind. And that's not true. As we were just talking about, your kid just wants to be with you and your kid wants to experience life with you. And going to PetSmart to pick up dog food and then strolling the aisles where the fish and the frogs are is just as special with an 18-month-old as going to the aquarium and dropping $90 for your family to go. And making that more like visually shown online, I thought was really important. And so that's something also that we're really proud of at East Valley Moms is that frugal fun.
I've definitely clicked on that calendar multiple times, so I'm several of those.
Love that. Thanks.
And anytime I mention on like our show or to anyone really of like, oh yeah, we have memberships to the zoo and to the aquarium. But as soon as that comes out of my mouth, I'm like, well, I know that makes me sound like really lucky and like in a good spot because not everyone can be able to do that or even like has time to do all of that, not necessarily financially. So I also have like a little list of things in my notes, like my notes app of things to do with Chloe when maybe she's sick or maybe we don't have like a few hours to kill. So kind of like what you mentioned, I'll take her to Petco and make it like a local zoo situation and we can go see all the different fish and the lizards and whatever it is. And it's obviously faux free, which is our favorite.
Right.
So yes, that's huge for us.
Yeah. I mean, I've been so incredibly surprised at like the high quality of free stuff happening every day. Literally every day. There is like free concerts, free like art classes, like so much good stuff without spending a dime. And I just feel like in this era of Instagram, sometimes it can be not free anything. And so I really love that we're kind of the salmon swimming upstream on that angle on the blog as well.
So good. Okay, so really fast, I had to circle back. You were talking about Oregon Stop Pizza, and that's like a core memory for me because my grandparents lived in Mesa, and whenever we wanted to spend time with grandma and grandpa, and we loved pizza, and as kids, that was like a really big way for us to bond with them. That was also like kid friendly, and that's such a core memory for me because I remember growing up, we would go there, and then they had their retirement party at Oregon Stop before they went and traveled the world in their motorhome. And I just remember like a lot of my core memories in childhood is at Oregon Stop Pizza. And it makes me so happy that it's still there and still up and going.
It hasn't changed. It has not changed at all.
Something beautiful about it.
But honestly, it's so fun. We go at least once a year, similar to you. Like I grew up going there every summer. It was like
for sure. And it's cold and dark in there, and it kind of felt a little like a way to relax and kind of escape. I totally relate.
I will say though, for the moms, it's not relaxing at all. I don't know why they haven't figured out how to bring the pizza to your table yet. But with children, why do I have to watch? It's like an old school board that they light the number up. So
stepping
mom,
in time.
Like you're focusing, you're looking at the light board with your number on it. Then you have to go over here. It is not relaxing for the moms. But we love it. And we go at least once a year.
I'll have to check it out myself. I feel like every just like neck of the woods needs what you're doing because there is so much out there to offer, and whether it's like local events and maybe it's seasonal or like the options that we just talked about that are free that are just ideas like going to the pet store or like obviously the library. Usually libraries have kid sections. Like all these things really add up. So it's nice for us to have you as such a go-to resource. And even just on Instagram, you guys will pop up automatically on my newsfeed and I'll be like, oh, heck yes, I'm going to this. I'll send it to my husband and he says, yep, let's do it. So it's just that chain reaction. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any other like go-to favorite spots that you found like within the past 6 months that you want to like share a little bit with us?
Well, since we're going into summer, I definitely have to plug Sholo. I love adventuring with my little guy. I love getting outdoors and exploring Arizona. And I hadn't spent a lot of time in Sholo until I had him. And Sholo with kids is, but hands down, the best like white mountain destination for families. There's so much to do there. It's an easy drive. Like I feel so comfortable doing it by myself. So that's like as we get into hot summers. But let's see here locally. Yes, there's a new gal who is doing it's called Stories and Songs, and she hosts both paid classes or she does free story times once a week as well. Her name's Tessa Keys, and she is. I started off as a music major in college, and so obviously like music has a sweet spot for me. And I just it's a mom with an acoustic guitar, and she reads stories and does crafts. Like what more do you need?
Perfect.
Love it.
She's like the epitome of what you expect from that as well, and she's just delightful. And so that's probably my latest, newest favorite thing.
Does she always do that in the same location?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on the events calendar.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We'll check it out.
Yeah, it's at a coffee shop. The free one's at a coffee shop. So then you can get coffee, relax a little bit while your little does stories and songs. So
My dream.
It's great. Yeah.
Great. And then as far as like recommendations, we do a little segment on here called Moment. So where we give a little moment for a product that we've like genuinely been loving these days. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to give a shout out to?
100%. Yes. Citrus Pear. Citrus Pear freezer meal prep classes. I discovered these a couple years ago, and I've literally fed my family with them since then consistently. Like my next class is on March 1st. So it's a freezer meal prep class. So you go to your local Bash's grocery store, and they've set up tables, and in 2 hours, you bring an empty cooler into the grocery store. And in 2 hours, you meal prep 10 to 20, you pick ahead of time, freezer meals that then you go home, you freeze in your freezer, and there's a QR code on them, and then you can either cook them in the crock pot or the Instant Pot. And so and now they even came out with delivery. So if you don't even have time to do the 2-hour class, which is so fun for like a girls' night out or like with sisters or like moms and stuff like that, they will just mail them to you. It is literally a game changer. The menu changes every month, and they're all developed by a dietitian. And so it's not like freezer meals with weird goopy cream soups in them. Like they're all very nutritionally balanced, and they've saved my life. Like so good.
That is awesome. Do you just have to pay for like the groceries of what it is, or like how does that kind of work?
It's like a class fee, and so you select how many meals you want to go home with. So it starts at 10 meals, 20, 30, or 40. And they're fully customizable. So and then it's like one base price. So it comes out to about $2.33 a serving. So affordable.
So affordable.
Like
that's pretty much like a can of soup. So like,
right?
You're on the soup diet. Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And so like last night I did one, let's see, this week already from Citrus Pear. Tomorrow night we're having chicken noodle soup from them. Last night I did Italian chicken, which was so good. It's like a creamy Italian chicken. Saturday, I think we did beef stroganoff from Citrus Pear. So like there's a good variety. You can cut, like if your family doesn't like olives or mushrooms, like you don't have to put them in. If your family doesn't like spicy, you can skip the spice. It's so customizable, and I just love it.
That is such a good tip, because I totally know, like, you work all day or you're out and about doing stuff with your kiddos, and the last thing you want to do is get home and, all right, what are we having for dinner? Did I grab that from the shops? Oh crap, I forgot the noodles or whatever. And having something like that in your back pocket after like an awesome day out, you want to keep the good vibes going, pull something out of the freezer to put it in the crock pot for tomorrow, or, tomorrow, you've got a big long day. Having something in the back of your head, knowing that it's in the crock pot or in the slow cooker all day long, so that way you get home and just know that the good vibes keep rolling. That's such a good tip.
Yes. And I bring them to the mountains all the time. Like when we go up north for like vacation rental houses, or even we've done them in hotel rooms, like I just bring my crock pot. Because like at the end of a travel day, like, like if you're adventuring and stuff, dining out with children is not fun. And so like literally like bringing them with you places also is so good.
Genius.
And frugal.
So we'll definitely link that in our show notes.
Yeah.
And then if you have any other like how people can reach you or check out East Valley Moms, we'll send those links. So if you want to give a little shout out of where to find you guys, like Instagram, or if you have the URL or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely follow us on Instagram. We're there 6 days a week. And our handle is eastvalley.moms. And it's me over there. We sign off for Sundays. We completely unplug for Sundays. So you won't find us there on Sundays, but the other 6 days of the week's for there. And if you Google East Valley Moms, you'll find us with 10 years of blog post content over there. So reviews, tips, travel itineraries. If you're going to the Grand Canyon with your kids, or if you want a day trip up to Peyton, how to use and maximize the America the Beautiful Pass. All of those sorts of travel guides for around the state as well are there, which is so fun. We also have park reviews. So if you're looking for the best shaded parks or the best, like, you know, those days that you're like, okay, we're going to spend the day outside. Like, we're not going just to the neighborhood park, but like, we want to park. We have the like ultimate guide to parks, things like that. Best breweries to bring babies to, all those kinds of things. And then one of my favorite resources on there is the Kids Eat Free guides. We've got over 30 local restaurants that do Kids Eat Free. And so you can just see like, oh, it's Tuesday, I don't want to cook. Where are my Tuesday Kids Eat Free options around me?
Love it.
Awesome. I've definitely taken advantage of that search bar. So
yes,
good go-to.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We are just like so blessed to have known you and to have that connection. And we definitely want to have you back on the podcast, hopefully in the next couple months, and keep tabs on what's happening with you guys.
Yes, I will be able to report back how kindergarten transition goes.
Please. We'll be on the edges of our seats because we'll be up next before you know it.
Yes. And summer survival. We're working. So we do a magazine also because I'm not busy enough. We do a quarterly print magazine as well. You know,
add it on the top.
And so we're working on our summer survival guide. And I know it gets hot over there in Australia too.
Yep. Very.
So that might be something fun to talk about too. Our best and worst summer tips.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. This was so lovely to connect.
Absolutely.
With you.
Yes. Thank you. We'll chat soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Mom Meets World. If you enjoyed listening, please give us a like, subscribe, and find us on Instagram at Mom Meets World Pod.
Because sometimes you just need another mom to remind you that you're getting it right more than you're getting it wrong. See you next time.